This is TV News at 7. We'll begin in the nation's capital, where President Muhammadu Buhari says it's the duty of security agencies to know terrorists' hideouts. The president stated this while responding to questions from journalists after he joined other Muslims to observe the Eid al-Fitr prayers at the Mambila Barracks Parade Ground in Abuja. Eid al-Fitr signifies the end of the month of Ramadan and festival of breaking the fast. While speaking on the insecurity situation in the country, the president said his administration would continue to work to make Nigeria secure for citizens. He also charged the heads of security agencies to rise up to their responsibilities and go about, or rather after the terrorists troubling the nation. President Buhari added that after a period of fasting and reflection this year, there is cause to welcome the end of Ramadan with hope, as the battle waged against the terrorists who falsely masquerade under the name of Islam is approaching its conclusion.
It's a great day for Muslims all over the world, where they celebrate the Eid al-Fitr that marks the end of the month of Ramadan, and Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do forgive all his servants in this special day. My message to Nigerians is Nigerians should unite. We don't have any country than Nigeria. None of us can go to another country and live. It's better we unite, we create peace by ourselves, and to have the fear of God so as to live well.
And the Sultan of Sokoto and President General, Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, Mohammed Saad Abubakar, on the spot called on leaders in the country to imbibe the fear of God and be compassionate to the masses as they run the affairs of the country. The Sultan made the call at his palace shortly after the Eid al-Fitr prayers at the Sokoto Central Eid Prayer Ground, led by the Sokoto State Chief Imam, Malawi Akwara. He called on leaders and other well-to-do members of the society to sustain the act of assisting the masses, which they engaged in during the holy month of Ramadan. The Sultan expressed worry about the security challenges in the country, calling on security agencies to wrap up efforts in fighting the menace. For the national leader of the All Progressives Congress and presidential hopeful, Nigerians should continue to pray for lasting peace and an end to the spate of killings and banditry in the country. Asiwaju Bola Tinubu made the call after observing the Eid prayer in Lagos. Olawako reports.
Asiwaju Bola Tinubu arrives venue of the Eid prayer in Lagos. After the 30-day Ramadan fasting, Muslim faithful all over the world gathered to observe the Eid prayer in celebration of Eid al-Fitr. It is a convergence of politicians, public office holders, and Muslim faithful. Chief Imam of Lagos leads the prayer. He urges Muslims to always shun all forms of inequality and establish peace.
Let's know that peaceful coexistence is a duty upon us. We must therefore shun all forms of inequalities, establish peace, justice, righteousness, security in the land if we truly want to attain greater heights.
As it is the Eid celebration before the 2023 general election, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu used the platform to call on Nigerians to continue to pray against the spate of insurgency and banditry.
We should respect one another, love each other, unite the country, stop all acts of banditry and instability. That is how we can bring peace, love, and progress to the country.
The APC presidential aspirant also appealed for unity, peace, and for all Muslims to abide by the tenet of Islam as preached during the period of Ramadan.
It is very, very, very important that we abide by the tenet of what we learn during this month of Ramadan. It is very important for Nigeria to recharge their hopes and believe in God Almighty. Believe in ourselves that we can do things much, much better.
It is expected that the lessons learnt during the holy month of Ramadan will be put to action for national development. Ola Awakon, TVC News, Lagos.
Away from the Eid al-Fitr celebration, 24 persons have been rescued with 9 others confirmed dead at the site of the building that collapsed at Ibadan Street, Ebute Metta, here in Lagos. Those so far rescued include 23 males and 1 female. 6 males and 4 females have been confirmed dead at the scene. TVC News correspondent Theophilus Elama has more.
This was once the building that collapsed at Ebute Metta, a Lagos suburb. The building, which is about 13 flats, was said to have been marked for demolition after it failed an integrity test carried out on the building. Owners of the said building revealed that the occupants were told to evacuate after the test and their rent monies returned to them.
We had meeting with the occupants in respect of this, that please, this place is not suitable for you to live in again. Just leave this house. At the same vein, we held meeting from January, February, we held meeting with them. And on that note, a Lagos State agency, they came serving. And these people, we told them that this place is not safe for you again. Though. You better relocate before it's too late. We gave them money for them to leave the place, but they refused.
Before our arrival, the first responders, which are the community members, they mobilized themselves to carry out rescue, and they did a lot in the rescue effort. So by the time we got there, we only incorporated them and we started working together.
This building has been sealed. Early warning has been issued out around this building that this is a distressed building. However, it is important to note that some people comply with this early warning, while some did not comply with the early warning.
Emergency responders have been on hand to rescue those trapped in the rubble. According to officials of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, 7 children and 17 adults were rescued. Another building just across the street was said to have been marked for demolition. The government had planned to demolish the building, but they were stopped by residents who disagreed with the decision.
This particular building was marked, was checked 3 years ago, and it went through integrity and it's passed.
We served the several notices. If they have that report, they need to bring it forward. And I'll have to tell you that material testing and testing of material, they still need to do to bring a structural engineer, engage a structural engineer to do a complete assessment of that property.
This latest incident is said to be the second building collapse to be recorded in the Yaba-Ebute Metta axis of the state in almost 3 months. So far, those rescued have been taken to government medical facilities for medical attention. Theophilus Elama, TVC News, Lagos.
Let's talk now to the PRO Nigerian Institute of Building, Godfrey, who joins us via Zoom from Lagos. We're told that this particular building in question has been marked for demolition, having failed an integrity test. Is it a matter of how long a building has lasted? What really are the criteria that determines whether a building should stay or be demolished?
Thank you very much for having me. Happy Eid al-Fitr to our Muslim brothers and sisters across the world. To your question, the challenge that is often observed with substandard construction practices is what you are seeing in play now. The building in question, I'm sure it's not up to about 30 years old. So this invariably means that during the construction of that building, the right things, processes, materials, and all of that have not been carried out. To cap it all, the professionals have not been allowed to play a role in the construction of those projects.
Lagos alone recorded about 5 of such incidents last year, including one in November, in which more than 40 people reportedly died when a high-rise building that was still being constructed crumbled on workers. Now, authorities have faced accusations of failing to enforce building regulations. Do you think government could have done better in this particular case?
Well, the truth is that there is always more for government to do. And we keep encouraging them and advocating that they do more. From the information we gathered, that building had been marked, by the government official. LAPSCA is the agency who is in charge, to look at the stability of such structure and then carry out, necessary preliminary evaluation. So having carried out that evaluation, they had marked that building and requested and mandated every occupant of the building to evacuate. Unfortunately, that didn't follow up with the actions, because Nigerians, for who they are, when you just mark a structure and ask them to demolish, and ask them to evacuate, they are not going to do that willingly. So oftentimes there is always need for force to be exerted on such occupants. Unfortunately, on this one, we have lost some lives. So there's always more for government officials to do.
How well involved is the Nigerian Institute of Building in the process of enforcing quality in the building process as we speak?
Yeah, so Nigerian Institute of Building, is not empowered to enforce, okay? By law, a builder is actually someone who has been licensed to practice by COBON. COBON is the Council of Registration of Builders in Nigeria. They are the ones that regulate building activities, both in practice and all of that. So a builder cannot readily go and enforce. So the advocacy we keep giving to Nigerian populace is that they should, as much as possible, engage professionals who are certified to carry out building construction activities in Nigeria, so as to bring to an end the incessant and shameful building collapses that's happening across the country. Unfortunately, we are seeing a spike in this because the rains have come. And this rainy season, will not be surprised if we see more building collapses. And this is because most of those buildings, by the time the rains come, they absorb more moisture. More moisture means more weight. And then ordinarily, the structural elements that were weak, hitherto, will not now be able to support those extra weight that the rain has brought to it. That's one. Secondly, the soil on which the building is sitting on, gets softer, and is no more and permeable to rainwater. And then therefore the distortions begin. Once those distortions begin, what you see is that the foundation can no longer hold, and then buildings begin to, begin to come down.
Godfrey is the Public Relations Officer of the Nigerian Institute of Building. Thank you for talking to us tonight. Now, the last has not been heard on the killing of 2 men at a birthday party in Lagos last week. TVC News caught up with an eyewitness who threw more light on the murder that unsettled the Iyanokpaja area of Lagos on Sunday, 24th of April. Senior correspondent Ivy Kano reports.
As families of Chikere Obiechi and Odinaka Igwe, the 2 young men who were shot at a birthday party, still struggle with the reality of their demise, more revelations are coming out. TVC News' attention on the story led us to this witness. The only condition with which he granted this interview was that we have his identity concealed. He told us that usually firearms are not allowed into the bar, but somehow that evening he noticed what happened to be an unusual move on a particular table at the bar.
Some minutes later, one tall guy, I think he was wearing an ash color trouser. I think it's a jean trouser, and also ash color polo like that. But he was carrying something like a guitar on his back. I was thinking, okay, the guitar bag is yellow and black when he came in. I think I saw all of that, and he came to that our right hand side and sat with the other person that was sitting there before.
We asked if he thinks the celebrant knew those seated on that table, since it was an open bar that was filled with different people, but this was his reply.
The celebrant was already there. They ate a lot of things before those people came. But when those people came, he went and met them. He sat with them, and they stayed. In fact, it was their table that he was sitting before he went to stage to go and dance.
The witness, who said he escaped death by the whiskers, further described what happened after the shooting.
He didn't wait at all. As in, I saw him, running from here to here as if he was dragging somebody, but I couldn't get hold of what he was doing. But it's like he came to pick something from the stage. I don't know. He was even dragging some of those people. He was dragging them. They just, let's go. They just ran away like that. So it was like a dream to me that day. I couldn't, as if I'm still sleeping.
Last week, the Commissioner of Police visited the widows of the deceased and assured that no stone will be left unturned in unraveling who and why the men were killed. Ivy Kano, TVC News, Lagos.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities has been urged to embrace dialogue with the federal government in order to end the ongoing strike. Asuu has been on strike since February 14 due to several unresolved issues, one of which is the union's insistence on making use of the University Transparency and Accountability Solution UTAS as a preferred payment option instead of the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System. Let's talk now to the Asuu Chairman, Unilag Chapter, Dele Ashiru, for more on this development. Dr. Ashiru, what precisely is the situation right now? Where are we as regards the current impasse between Asuu and the federal government? Dr. Ashiru, I'm asking where we are right now. What is the current update as regards the negotiation between Asuu and the federal government? We'll get back to Dr. Ashiru in the course of this conversation, in the course of this bulletin. But Dr. Ashiru, if you can hear me, I'm asking where we are currently. What is the current update in the ongoing negotiation between Asuu and the federal government?
Thank you very much for the question. It's unfortunate that as we speak, the federal government is still prevaricating in terms of negotiating with our union. There was a number of engagements with the Minister of Labor and Productivity. As I speak with you, those engagements have not yielded any result. The high-powered committee set up by the president, comprising the Minister of Labor, Minister of Education, Minister of Finance, and the Chief of Staff, is here to meet with our union. Up till now, the discussion between our union and the federal government newly constituted renegotiating team has also not yielded any result. This is a sad commentary on this current situation, because it is the conviction of our union that if government is serious and really determined to resolve these issues, the issues in contention are really not difficult to resolve. Take, for instance, university teachers in the last 13 years have been receiving the same salaries. And we're saying that a review of our document will enable, a commensurate compensation for those who teach in the university system. Also, funding for revitalization of public universities is still a contentious issue. There are no reagents in the laboratories. The journals in the libraries are dated, and infrastructure for teaching and learning are also very obsolete and needs a lot of review. And also, finally, the question of taking our members out of the now very discredited and fraudulent IPPIS scheme is also a matter in contention.
Let me button very quickly,
Our
Dr.
union is
Asuu. When you
convinced that
say that
with
the
the requisite political will,
renegotiating, or rather the renegotiation team hasn't met, I really want to find out what you meant, because the vice president recently was quoted to have appealed to Asuu and the broader labor community to seek the path of dialogue. And that statement would be interpreted to mean that the federal government is ready to talk with the union. When was the last time that meeting held, and what on what basis was that meeting convened? At what time was it supposed to be reconvened, as it were?
Well, the meeting was convened about a week ago. It was supposed to discuss the renegotiated document that we have with government. Unfortunately, the committee seemed not to be abreast of what the issues are and are trying to put fresh proposals before our union. And we needed to tell that committee that the Muzalil Jubril committee had gone so far that we cannot accept a revision of what had been done since 2021. And it was at that note that the committee refused to continue discussion with our union. It is our expectation that in meeting their principals, they will come back to our union with a proposal that may usher in, a more convivial environment for discussion.
We have to go now. In less than a minute, NAS has threatened to disrupt APC and PDP primaries over the strike. In some 2 weeks, it would have been 3 months that the universities have been shut. How optimistic are you that this issue will be resolved in no time?
Given the present condition and the feelers that we are getting from government seems to be more preoccupied with politicking, purchase of nomination form, expression of interest, and also primaries for who becomes what in 2023. And that seems to have taken the shine out of concentrating, on issues that bothers on the future of millions of Nigerians and the development of the country. We have said for the opt-in time that no nation can rise above the level of its tertiary education. It is therefore saddening that politicians in Nigeria don't seem to take the education of its citizens, especially at the university level, very seriously. Because if they do, our union is convinced that it shouldn't take too long for all of these issues to be resolved.
In other words, you're saying that students will still spend some more weeks or even months at home?
That really depends on government's attitude.
All right.
Our union is open to negotiation. We have put our cards on the table. We are only waiting for them to be met by government. And as I speak with you, it doesn't seem that there's enough seriousness at the level of government to meet us at that level.
Leave it for now. Asuu Chairman, Unilag Chapter, Dele Ashiru, thank you for talking to us on the news tonight.
Thank you very much for this invitation. We really
and now to politics. A social-political group, the Tinubu Hope of Nigeria Vanguard, has begun sensitizing Nigerians on why the national leader of the APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, should be elected to succeed President Muhammadu Buhari in 2023. The group, which held a press briefing at the NBA Hall, Alagbaka in Akure, Ondo State capital, declared that Tinubu has the wherewithal to turn around the country's social, economic, and political challenges. Adeji Muradio reports.
More and more groups are drumming up support for the actualization of the presidential ambition of the former governor of Lagos State, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This latest support is coming from Tinubu Hope Nigeria Vanguard, a group made up of professionals in different fields. They converge here in Akure to mobilize support for the APC national leader, who they say has what it takes to transform Nigeria.
The capacity and the capability to turn the table around.
The leader of the group, Bode Famosha, insisted that Tinubu has the courage and competence to manage the country's resources and return it to a productive economy.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu to chest out and say, I can do it, means that he can really be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and bring about the real sustainable development that we want. We are together because we want a genuine renaissance for Nigeria. We want a rebirth for Nigeria. We want a paradigm shift in the system.
Other members of the group emphasized that Tinubu's pedigree is enough to convince anyone that he is capable of transforming the country.
We all see something in him that is unique. It's about the past. You cannot give what you don't have. He has demonstrated what he can do in Lagos State. Taking, for example, it's not tribalistic. He shoots different people from different states as his cabinet member when he was Lagos State. He never cared about your background, either you are a Muslim or you are a Christian. He never cared either you are Igbo or you are Hausa.
In this group is to sensitize the Nigerian populace on the need and the imperative of having Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu as our next president come 2023. And our goal first is to sensitize the delegates who, for now, are the primary actors in deciding who will get the APC presidential ticket.
For members of this group, galvanizing support for the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is of paramount importance. Ayodeji Morade, TVC News, Akure.
In Enugu, the recently concluded state ward congresses of the People's Democratic Party have been described as peaceful, transparent and credible. And that's according to the delegation of the party's electoral committee sent to supervise the exercise. Bamdele Ajayi has more. We'll return with the business news afterwards.
The ward congresses of the People's Democratic Party in Enugu State was peaceful throughout the period the exercise lasted. Party faithful across the 260 political wards participated in the exercise. This move is aimed at electing a 3-man statutory ad hoc delegate for each political ward in the state.
On the whole, we are very, very happy and very comfortable with what you are doing here. There is no quarreling, nothing. I don't know whether you have finished your elections already. In this ad hoc delegate election, one person out of the 3 must be a woman. It can be all women, no problem, but it can't be all men.
At Umondevu Ward 2, Oguinike in Enugu North Council area, the leader of the delegation told party members that PDP has been deeply rooted in Enugu from 1999.
Any incident anywhere, it's been very calm. We also bring you felicitations from Abuja. They say we should greet you, Enugu people, that since the new ESCO came on board, we have having complaints here and there, but we have not had any from Enugu. So, if we have set a record, and we hope if we are going to continue with it like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
At Edenta Ward in Edobala, Nsukka LGA, the exercise was peaceful. It was, however, a carnival-like at Oboleke, Udenu LGA, and Nkem in Issues of LGA, as party members roll out their drums to receive the electoral committee members. The leader of the delegation later interacted with INEC officials, but further urged the participants to continue to support the party at all times. The elected 3 ad hoc committee per ward will form the statutory delegate that will elect House of Assembly, Senate, and governorship candidate in the forthcoming party primaries. Bamidele Ajayi,
TVC News, Enugu.
And in business news, a leading data management product, Audience Origin, has been launched in Nigeria and 11 other African countries. The product, owned by WPP, the world's largest marketing communications company, will provide major consumers insights and a data platform for the entire industry. We have details in this report.
Audience Origin is a revolutionary audience product providing unprecedented depth of the understanding of consumer mindset through a connected data foundation. Algorithm Media now has the Nigerian franchise of the product, strengthening the already existing partnership in the industry. The launch is attended by major industry stakeholders, and they all speak with one voice, agreeing to the fact that Audience Origin provides an original and deep insight into the human mind and thinking.
We always talk about challenges with data in Nigeria, the inadequacy of data, integrity of data, and so on and so forth. So what Audience Origin has brought into Nigeria is to address some of the gaps that were inherent in the other tools, data tools that we had before now. And so, as we said in the course of the presentation, we are not discarding of the other tools which have served their own purpose. But what this is doing is that it's actually filling some of the gaps, the shortcomings in those other tools, and sort of helping us to take consumer insight generation to a different level. So this helps us to really analyze the consumer, know what their behaviors and their motivations are, what their aspirations are, with a view to being able to come up with the best marketing solutions for our clients.
It's a product that the Group M, our global media division, has rolled out across the world, and it allows advertisers to get additional insights into their audiences. So I think it's a unique product for this market and something that can really add value to the marketplace, and particularly for our clients. We very much want to develop our business in all the African markets. Nigeria obviously has a big population and has a lot of potential to grow. Particularly, I think for many of our clients, they're interested in the potential that this market has for their consumers.
Audience Origin came up using a data foundation with an international network that employs a privacy-first data collection system using proprietary consumer surveys.
This data also was designed with the fact that we can then activate tools that we have available in the Group M that up till now we haven't been able to use. And those tools will help us answer some questions that clients have been asking, help us to unlock the insights that we need to do, because sometimes we struggle to do good work in this market because we don't have data. But with this now, like the guys have said, the magic can then begin.
I'm very, very impressed with the achievement of the company so far. I think I was there about 3-4 years ago, and what I'm seeing, I can assure you that this is even their best is yet to come. We continue to pray for them. This country will grow from strength to strength, and like an oak tree, they will spread all over the world.
The product is a standalone tool that can collaborate with other data sources to deliver bespoke solutions to address clients' challenges.
The president of the Chartered Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, Mrs. Comfort Eitayo, has reaffirmed that the institute remains committed to enhancing transparency, accountability, and integrity in the management of the country's financial resources. She made this known while speaking at the 2022 ICANN Annual Dinner and Awards in Lagos. Blessed Omonose reports.
After devoting many hours of their professional and business lives working the numbers and immensely contributing to the nation's economic development in different capacities, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN, has deemed it fit to create an avenue for both accountants and captains of industry in the country to unwind, network, and be celebrated. Speaking at this gathering of professional accountants, business leaders, and policymakers, the president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, Mrs. Comfort Eitayo, maintains that the organization remains a key player in the finance and accounting space in the country.
We are here today to celebrate excellence, professionalism, patriotism, and adherence to ethical conduct. Give honor to those that honor is indeed due, and project the good ideals that have been consistently demonstrated by the awardees of 2022 ICANN Awards.
Mrs. Eyitayo also urged the recipients of the awards to remain committed and dedicated to nation building.
Many of my professional colleagues are conversant with these processes and demand, but I have elaborated thereon here to challenge and encourage the younger members to imbibe the spirit of selfless services to our great institute and the society at large, so that they can leave good and conspicuous footprints in the sand of time.
Amongst other eminent awardees at this auspicious event is the Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who was recognized for his contribution for the growth and development of the Lagos economy, as well as his continued support for ICANN. Blessed Omonose, TVC News, Lagos.
Meanwhile, the federal government has issued a 2-month ultimatum to terminal operators operating at the nation's seaports to integrate the collection of practitioners' operating fees into their platform or face sanctions. The directive was given at a strategic ministerial meeting with stakeholders on the enforcement of practitioners' operation fees in Lagos. Ifunaya Eze reports.
In February 2021, the Council for the Regulation of Freight Forwarding in Nigeria kickstarted the collection of the practitioners' operating fee at ports. The Council says that the implementation of the policy is being frustrated by refusal of some terminal operators to enforce the directive. At this meeting, convened by the Council, the Federal Ministry of Transportation is seeking to know why many of the terminal operators have failed to comply in spite of the Memorandum of Understanding they entered with the Council to drive the implementation of the POF collection.
It is a policy of the federal government that payment of POF is a condition precedent to exit of cargoes from the ports. In the performance of our responsibility as a regulatory agency, CRFFN has had some challenges in the enforcement of POF.
It is relevant to note that integrating the POF will promote global competitiveness and build capacity for effective participation in the new African continental free trade arrangement after.
In his resolution, the Federal Ministry of Transportation threatened sanctions against defaulting terminals that fail to integrate their systems in line with stated guidelines within 2 months.
After 2 months, if it is not complied with, we will now begin to look at the sanctions. You can't come to a country and choose the processes of engagement. You have rules in every country on how businesses should run, and they have to comply with that. We don't have any exemption for anybody. Businesses have to be run based on the rules of Nigeria.
The Federal Ministry of Transportation says it will put in place sufficient guidelines to ensure that funds realized from the POF is devoted to professionalization and capacity building of the practitioners. Ifunanya Eze, TVC News, Lagos.
Well, oil prices in the international market fell today in a holiday-sapped trade in Asia as concerns about weak economic growth in China, the world's top oil importer, outweighed fears of potential supply stress from a looming European Union ban on Russian trade. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude recorded a dip of 0.17% to hit $104.50 per barrel. Brent sells at $106.90, registering a downward price margin of 0.19%. Bonnie Light's performance is, however, starting the week in the green territory, with a price surge of 2.33% to sell at $109.60 per barrel. For the OPEC basket, crude oil dealers offer $105.30 per barrel, recording an increase of 0.01%.